Hello and welcome to the NCAA 2014 College Football Preview. I'm John.
I'm Bobby.
And I'm Josh.
And we're ready for some football. Let's first of all talk about the playoff system. This is the first year we've had a playoff system in college football. What's that going to mean for the season?
I think, first of all, you'll notice if you look at some of the seasons coming up, we're going to be going against tougher opponents. Each team is choosing tougher opponents on their schedule in the beginning of the season. In the end of the season, just throughout it, they're choosing tougher teams to play against so that they have a shot at being in the top four.
I think it means no big paychecks for a lot of 1AA teams because I think you're right. They're going to be scheduling tougher teams because they know at the end of the day, to get in that playoff, they're going to have the best schedule. And so I think, sorry 1AA teams, but I don't think you're going to get the paychecks you normally get.
Well, that may be the case. Let's talk about, first of all, let's talk about the AAC. And let's talk about what's going to happen with the American Athletic Conference. Is that going to affect them? And being not one of the smallest conferences, but one of the smaller conferences, what's that going to mean for them?
I think it's going to mean that it's going to hurt them because their schedules aren't as tough as the other conferences. So, you know, it automatically hurts them. So they would have to go out and out of their non-conference games, they're going to have to schedule some pretty tough games, which, I mean, if you're already a pretty decent AAC team, like a UCF or something, some other teams might not want to schedule you. So that's a tough thing, but we'll see what happens.
Do you think that this season, 2014, do you think that any of these teams in the AAC have a chance to make it to the playoffs?
I don't think there's
no matter how good their season is.
I don't think no matter how good their season is, there's going to be teams from BCS conferences that are going to be ranked higher.
Okay, let's talk about the AAC real quick. You've got Tuberville's Cincinnati.
Sure.
He does have a quarterback with a cool name. I mean, Gunnar Kiel. If your first name's Gunnar and you're a quarterback, I mean, that's awesome.
Sure.
What is that going to mean for him?
Sure. Well, you know, Gill was highly recruited. I know he was a Notre Dame kid. He transferred.
Yeah.
So, you know, if he's good enough to get a scholarship to Notre Dame, he's probably pretty good. So I think a lot of people are picking Cincinnati to win the AAC.
A lot of conferences are also struggling right now with losing quarterbacks.
And speaking of which, that brings us to your alma mater, UCF. The Knights lost Bortles. That's a huge loss.
And Storm Johnson, the running back.
That's right. So will UCF be able to make something of this season?
I think so, and I think it's because the foundations were built.
Okay.
And I don't think Bortles was a 2-star prospect. He wasn't a big name guy before he came out of UCF. I think it's a system they've developed. It's built on the run. So even losing Storm Johnson, William Stanback got a lot of minutes last year. I think UCF will be okay. I think their strength is their lines, and yes, Blake Bortles was a tremendous quarterback, but at the same time, they've got some young, talented guys, maybe Nick Patty from Boise State to transfer, or even Justin Holman, who they say. So we'll see.
They've got a lot of potential quarterbacks there.
Sure. So, and they're solid, so I think they'll be okay. Whether or not they'll win the AAC, we'll see, but I think they've got the talent.
I'm picking UCF to win the AAC over Cincinnati just because traditionally, obviously Cincinnati is a good team, but lately UCF has been playing better. They've had good quarterbacks and stuff, but I just feel like they have the edge over most of the other teams in the AAC.
Okay, let's talk about East Carolina, who's jumping into the AAC.
Sure.
They pardoned their quarterback. Granted, it was when they were in the Conference USA. Got almost 4,000 yards in passing. That's awesome. He had an awesome year. Can he replicate that when they're...
I think when you think about a team like East Carolina, very similar to Houston. You know, Houston years past, Case Keenum just all they do is throw the ball, so they're going to have a lot of interceptions, but they're going to throw it for a lot. So anytime you have a team that can, you know, score a lot of points, I think they're going to be dangerous. You know, I like East Carolina, traditionally a strong program. They could be a sleeper team to win the conference over both of these two teams.
Yeah,
okay,
good.
But the Sun Belt is still a good step lower than the AAC is.
Conference USA.
Conference USA?
Yes.
Oh, okay. The Conference USA is also still a step that doesn't change anything.
And
they're still a good step lower than the AAC and some of the bigger conferences. So I don't think they'll be able to win anything.
And
obviously they'll win games, but not the conference this year.
Yeah, it would be unlikely. I mean, who knows though? I mean, like you're saying, they're a sleeper. They could potentially.
I think one team to watch out for is South Florida. Because South Florida traditionally has been a good team. They've upset some higher ranked teams
in the
past, but they've been quiet. They had a new coach because their coach left. So I think watch out for South Florida. talent-rich Florida. They'll get players. They actually have players. No matter if this Willie Taggart coach, if he can really put them in the right position to win.
All right, we won't even talk about Houston. Houston, they're still in there.
We have a problem.
They love to cause turnovers. We know they're good at that. But let's move on to the ACC and let's talk about the what's going on there. First, let's talk about the Atlantic side of it. We've got the top team, Mr. Number 1, Florida State, with famous Jameis, and so what are we looking at? Are we looking at a repeat?
There is no indication that shows me that they can indicate whether it's schedule, whether it's talent. They're about as talent rich as any team in the country. I don't see any speed bumps unless actually the speed bumps I see could be self-imposed. You got stupid kids stealing crab legs in Publix and doing stuff like that. So could Florida State? It's hard to repeat. So could they self-impose?
Yeah. I'm thinking, I looked at Florida State's schedule. Obviously, their first game is going to be tough. But besides that, their only hard game, conference-wise, is against Clemson. I mean, if you look at the ACC right now, they're just not that strong in the conference, in my opinion. They're just really struggling with, there's not that many really good teams. Obviously, Florida State's a great team. But there's just no one on their schedule.
But most likely, but
schedule.
saying all that, most likely they'll make it to the playoffs.
Sure. I would say they're pretty much a lot. Now, but mind you never know. We always say at the beginning of the year, they might look soft, but maybe a team like Clemson, maybe they will have a quarterback that comes up. Because
take Todd Boyd's place.
That sometimes they can be better. So, but my thing is, if we rewind to 2002, Florida State was number 4 in the country, and they went up to Louisville, Kentucky, played a Conference USA team of Louisville Cardinal back when Bobby Petrino was coach. And lost.
That's right.
In the night game. This game is played on a Thursday night in Louisville. Again, Bobby Petrino, before he had his whole mess, he was one of the best coaches in college football. I think hands down. Whether or not you think about his character, I think Florida State better watch out that Thursday night in Louisville. Again, Charlie Strong built Louisville. I mean, yes, they have Teddy Bridgewater, but I think they have more talent than just him. So we'll see what happens. I think Florida State.
All right, hey, and that's going to be a Monday night game, right?
Thursday night.
Thursday night game. The Monday night game is going to be Louisville, and they're going to be playing. They're going to open up against Miami on a Monday night, and so that's going to be again we talk about Petrino and Louisville. And
I think Miami's a mess right now. I just read
they're a mess.
Got suspended for drugs or something, so they're down to the 3rd or 4th string quarterback. They're in a world.
Obviously, Louisville lost Teddy Bridgewater too.
Sure,
but you still have to think they're in a better position than Miami.
Yeah, and of course that's getting into Miami is getting into the Coastal.
Sure.
And they're weak on D and they're struggling with what they're going to do with quarterback and they're a mess. But let's talk about Virginia Tech now in Coastal. What are we looking at? Last year they had outstanding defense, but they struggled.
Sure.
They struggled. Yeah. And so what is that going to? I mean, offense. Yeah. New quarterback.
We don't know who it is yet. By the end of this, it could be anybody.
Yeah.
Now, there's a name floating around. They're calling him the Vanilla Vic. Michael Brewer transferred from Texas Tech. Could this guy be the next big thing at Virginia Tech? I don't know. I hope so, but we will see. I think if the defense is in place, if the offense can just do something, run the ball for a change, I think that there's a potential for them to. I mean, it's the Coastal Conference. Are we really thinking Duke's going to repeat?
I'm choosing Duke.
Do we think Duke's going to repeat?
I think they can.
Somebody thinks Duke's
I
going to
thought
repeat.
Florida State's schedule was easy, and then I looked at Duke's, and I'm like, this might as well.
But they're
it's
easy
really
until they
not that.
until they get down to the
preseason,
end.
obviously, not that good of a look. And I think they have one of the best shots in the Coastal side to be able to do it.
I'm not saying I think what David Cutcliffe has done with Duke has been impressive, but I don't think it's enough to get them back to an ACC championship game. That's just hard.
Yeah, it's a stretch.
Yeah,
It's a stretch. Okay, how about let's finish it off with the almost ACC team. You got Notre Dame, and they've got that funny contract, whatever, that allows the basketball to be in the ACC, but not football. But at the same time, they're going to play a lot of ACC teams.
And that starts this year.
It starts this year. They'll have 4 ACC games this year. So what is that? Okay, Notre Dame, the independent team. What are they going to look like?
They're probably going to be strong.
Yeah.
Maybe lose 2 games in their season, just because they're traditionally a pretty strong team. They also get really good recruits.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they had kind of a up and down year last year.
They did.
I'm not really. I wasn't too impressed, so we'll see what happens this year around.
I don't have high expectations.
Yeah.
I don't have high expectations. All right, that's our roundup of the AAC and the ACC.